think, speaking of that, and whether you want to say God or universe,
Yeah.
what are the lessons? What are the lessons that you are now able to teach other people because of what you've gone through in your life? What are like the biggest lessons that your life can teach others?
Oh, wow. So, I mean, I guess definitely, like, I hesitate to be like preachy, but definitely God, if you want to look to that and have that faith, like, even if something, I guess God or not, let's just say that if there's something going on in your life that doesn't seem to make sense, like, if you can look at it like, how can I see this as being for me? How can I see this as being something that, maybe I can't see it right now, but it doesn't have to mean that this is it. This is the only thing that's going to happen in my life. That there is hope, that there is another side to this. There's light at the end of the tunnel. I think that is something that I would hope that someone takes away from my journey, that, no matter how much you've struggled, like, there is a way out, even if you can't see it. That would be like the biggest thing. And then, of course, just paying attention to, your mind and your heart and your body, and like, our emotions are so important to, our fulfillment in our relationships and our, and in ourselves and in our souls. If we're off balance, it's going to show up some way in our lives physically, or, in our circumstances. It's going to show up in some way. And I think so many of us, because maybe emotions are abstract, maybe we kind of dismiss it because we can't see it, but we can feel it. So if you tune into what you feel, pay attention to it, because if you allow something in your life that doesn't belong there, you're hurting yourself and your own growth and your soul and what you're meant to do. So I guess that would be the other thing, is like, just the importance of that, tuning into yourself.
Absolutely. I so appreciate all of the goodness that you just shared today. It has been so overwhelming and a huge reminder for myself, even in so many different ways. So I so appreciate you taking the time to sit down with me and those that are listening now and on the replay. I want to ask, anyone who's listening who's interested in learning more about you, or diving in, following you on social media or anything to kind of see what else you have going on. I know I have your website on the top of your name there, but can you kind of talk about what you do?
Yeah.
What exactly do you do? And then where on social media can people find you?
Yeah. So I'm on Instagram, I'm on Clubhouse. Yeah, and my website's here too. But just to describe a little bit about, what I do is, I help people to awaken to their joy, their vitality, to their health, through these, self-help tools, and integrating their mind and their body, after they've been through some kind of, maybe trauma, or whether it be physical or mental, because these tools can really help, regardless of what kind of trauma maybe we've been through. And so I help people overcome that, and to come back to their natural state of health and well-being and their joy. And I help them through one-on-one coaching. I'm also looking at maybe launching a group program soon. I don't know when, but I'm definitely looking at launching a group program, especially for the raw foods, because a lot of times, we're trying to change our diet, and even going vegan can be really hard for somebody. But when you have nobody around you that's going raw vegan, and you're the only one, and you've got your family telling you should be eating more protein, and this is unhealthy or whatever,
And you're just sitting there eating a carrot stick, just pissed off at the world. That happened to me a few times, where literally I'm just like in the refrigerator, just eating like spinach or something, because I'm just
Right.
like, I don't know
Yeah.
what else. Like, I'm just so sick of, you can only like smooth so much or juice so much, and then it starts to be like, what else? Like,
Yeah.
what else is there?
Yeah.
So that's awesome. That'd be
Yeah.
great.
Yeah. And there's so many, fun recipes actually that you can do, with raw foods. And like, when you start really getting into like the herbs and, making the different dressings, it can be actually quite a lot of fun. So yeah, that's something that, I help people do. And, I'm going to be doing that also in a group container, soon. So I'm excited for that. But also help people with their inner work. I'm actually certified as a coach through the Internal Family Systems Institute, which is how I learned to do my inner child work and what helped me to leave my abusive relationship. And so I just feel like that particular method could help so many people. I wish more people knew how to do inner child work, because it's something I wish that I knew many years ago. I wish that I would have had this method because it's just so efficient. So I help people work with their inner child and start to dialogue with them so they can, for example, a lot of us who've been through domestic violence, we have a really strong inner critic. Like we blame ourselves, we thought it was our fault, all this kind of stuff. And that inner critic is actually trying to protect us, but we have to update it to see that it doesn't have to do that job anymore. And we can actually transform our inner critic. So I help people transform some of those parts of them. Maybe it's their inner critic or their inner people pleaser. The parts that are basically, they're trying their best to help us, but they're getting us on a path we don't really want to go down. They're maybe a little destructive in some ways. So I help support that through coaching on that level as well. So I offer both support with eating and changing the lifestyle in that regard, but also for anyone who wants to go deeper and do more of the emotional inner work. I also support that as well.
Awesome. And is all of that available on your website?
Yeah. I was just going to say, so I actually have a couple of free guides if anyone's just kind of interested and wants to just get a taste of some of these things. No pun intended. With the raw foods. So if you go to my website, you can get the it's right on my website, ascendingwithalana.com. I have the freebie there for the raw foods guide. So that includes it does include a recipe for raw vegan tomato soup with only 4 ingredients. And then it has a link to gut tests, has a couple of videos, like a playlist from Dr. Robert Morse, some books on there. So basically everything to kind of just get you started with learning what is all involved. But I think the hard part is not just, it's actually quite simple. Like the raw foods diet is actually quite simple, but the hard part is, how do I stick to it? What do I do when I'm challenged socially, or when I'm feeling, how do I make this exciting? So those are really the challenges, and that's where the coaching comes into play. But again, just to get you started, the freebie is available on my website. You can go there. For the inner child piece, I also do have an inner child resource guide. So you can just leave a comment here. I'd be happy to message anyone if it's on Facebook, or you can send me a message over my Instagram, Ascending with Alana, and just let me know that you're looking for the inner child resource guide. I can get that to you as well. So there's two free guides, depending on where you are in your journey, which you want to get started with. If you're looking at, the physical side of things and you want to get started there, the raw food guide is on my website. Just DM me if you want the inner child one.
Beautiful. That's awesome. Thank you so much. And I do want to ask, before we close up here, as far as, obviously, this is predominantly a female channel. The main avatar is females and predominantly around our age group. When, having an individual listening right now, if they've been listening this long, they obviously are, interested in this lifestyle and what we have going on and what's been being discussed. So what would be your advice to a female who is struggling just with their health in general? What would be like your 2 cents for them?
Man, I would say get a good support team. Get a good support team around you, but also, trust what you're, it can be really easy to just, the doctors say this or they say that. Even sometimes they'll give, a projection of, oh, you have this long to live, or, things like that. And I just think it's so important not to take that too seriously. Like, take it with a grain of salt is what I would say. They're looking at it from a specific perspective. But that was another reason actually why I didn't go to get my diagnosis, because I didn't want to screw up my mindset into thinking, this is what I have. This is what I have for the rest of my life. This is what they're telling me. I just didn't want to feed into that at all.
I can totally relate to that. Yeah.
Yeah. So I would just say, the more that you can fill yourself up with plant-based foods, as we've been talking about, for this whole hour, like definitely like look into that, like do some research on, there's actually some good videos I could probably recommend too on Netflix or wherever you get your free videos, your streaming videos. what was it? Joe the Juicer. What is the name of his documentary?
Fat, Sick, and Nearly Dead.
Yes, thank you very much. Fat, Sick, and Nearly Dead. That's a great one. What the Health is another one. Forks Over Knives. That was the one that I saw. That also like helped confirm like, yeah, it needs to do more plant-based. So yeah, I would just say the more you can go plant-based and then get support so that you're not stumbling along trying to figure out everything yourself. I mean, I did do a lot myself, but it was a longer journey that way, trying to figure out, so when you work with someone, it's like you get to learn everything that they've learned and do it in a shorter period of time and get quicker results. And then, then you're back on track. I mean, for me, it would have been so nice to be able to start working again and to have more independence sooner, to know like, this is what I need to do for my body. Like I was losing income, like not being able to, to do those things. If I would have had those answers sooner, if I would have known that sooner, I think it just would save me time and struggle. So that's what I would say. If you're really struggling, get support. But those would be a couple of other, watch some videos and some movies if you're not plant-based at all yet, to help your mind get on board. Because sometimes it's actually our mind that stops us. That's always what it is. That's where we tend to stumble.
100%. The cool thing about those videos too is they start with the mindset of you have no idea even what any of this is. So it starts, all of those movies kind of start with the basics of some sort of premise. So it's not just like diving in head first into something. And then by the end of it, then you start to really, kind of meditate on it and think about it. And by the next day is when you kind of start to have some epiphanies. So I agree with those. Thank you for giving those out as ideas to kind of start their mind thinking in that direction. So this has been absolutely phenomenal. I so appreciate you coming on and giving me an hour or so of your time and giving us all this juicy information. Do you have any closing thoughts before I close up?
Well, I just want to say thank you so much for taking this time. I appreciate being here and being able to, share my story, but also, again, I hope to really make an impact on other people as well. So thank you for being here. If anyone wants to follow me over on Instagram, it's Ascending with Alana is my username over there. I'm also here on Facebook. You can send me a friend request or send me a message if you're interested about learning more. And I'm on Clubhouse a lot too. So if you guys are in Clubhouse, I'm over there. So just look up Alana Vera. You'll find me there. I'm around. So
Awesome. And feel free, like I told you before, to put some of the links underneath these videos so that people can find you a little more easily. Definitely. Well, again, thank you so much for your time, Alana. I appreciate you being here with us, and I hope to have you on again coming up in the future. We have some impact panels coming up in 2022. So hopefully you'll be able to join us for those. So for those of you watching live now, I so appreciate you hanging out with us. No matter where you kind of stepped into this conversation, we appreciate you being here. And those of you that are listening on the replay, we do get back to all comments. So if you're not necessarily watching it live, but you have comments, questions, anything like that, just tag one of us and we'll make sure we get you the answer. And this is a learning platform. It's all about educating, learning, and learning from other people's experiences. So that's what we're here for, is to answer any questions and to give our input and our perspective on what's worked for us, or in this case, Alana's journey here. So thank you so much for joining us here on Her Version. If you have an amazing story to share or struggle to triumph, be sure to reach out to me here or at herversion.life. I am your host, Sabrina Victoria, and I'm so grateful to be here sharing a platform that allows people to share their truth and inspire others. Do something awesome today. Much love. Bye.
Bye-bye.